There comes a point in life when the roles between parents and children start to shift. After years of raising them, guiding them, and putting their needs before your own, something slowly changes. Maybe they stop asking for your advice. Maybe they brush off your opinions or speak to you in a way that feels dismissive. Sometimes they even make you feel like a burden, and that can cut deep. If your adult children have started showing signs of disrespect, it's natural to feel hurt or even angry. You may feel the urge to remind them of everything you've done for them, the sacrifices, the support, the unconditional love. But here's the hard truth. Reacting with anger rarely brings the respect back. In many cases, it only creates more distance. So what can you do instead? Today, we're going to explore 6 powerful ways to respond when your children don't treat you with the respect you deserve. These aren't about winning arguments or demanding recognition. They're simple but meaningful shifts in how you carry yourself, changes that can reshape the way your children see you. Some of these ideas may surprise you, but if you stay with us through the end, you'll walk away with a clearer path to restoring respect and peace in your relationship. Let's begin.
Action 1. Stop depending on your children emotionally. As we get older, one of the hardest truths to accept is this: your emotional well-being can't rest on your children. Of course you love them. You've been there through every stage of their lives. Naturally, you want to feel loved and respected in return. But when they sense that you need their attention to feel okay, something shifts, and not in your favor. Here's the truth. People tend to respect those who are emotionally self-reliant. That includes your own children. When they feel like you depend on them to feel valued or happy, it creates pressure, and that pressure can push them away. Instead of feeling appreciation, they may begin to feel guilt, frustration, or even resentment. Over time, they might withdraw, and the more you reach out, the more distant they become. Let me share a story. There was a woman named Emily. She was a generous, devoted mother. When her children moved out and built their own lives, Emily felt the silence deeply. She waited by the phone, and when they didn't call, she picked up the phone herself, often. She told them how much she missed them, how lonely the house felt, how she wished they would visit. But instead of bringing them closer, it made them pull back. The phone calls started feeling more like emotional responsibility than a loving connection. Then one day, Emily made a change. She stopped waiting. She stopped calling first. She began filling her own days, joining a book club, meeting friends for lunch, tending her garden. She smiled more. And something unexpected happened. Her children started reaching out. They noticed the shift. She became someone they admired again, not someone to feel guilty about. Here's the takeaway. When you stop needing your children to feel whole, they begin to value you more. When you stand on your own, they don't just see you as a parent, they see you as a person they respect.
Action 2. Stop giving when there's no appreciation. One of the fastest ways to lose respect is by continuing to give to people who don't value what you offer. And as parents, we often do this without even realizing it. We give our time, our energy, our support, sometimes even our money, again and again, even when it goes unnoticed, even when it's taken for granted, even when all we get in return is entitlement. But here's the truth. When you keep giving to someone who doesn't show appreciation, you're not building love. You're not building respect. You're building expectations. They start seeing your help not as a generous act, but as something they deserve. And the moment you stop, they don't feel grateful, they feel annoyed. That's when you know the balance has been lost. Let me tell you about a father named Michael. He was the kind of man who never said no to his kids. If they needed money, he gave it. If they needed a ride, he dropped what he was doing. He made their problems his problems. But the response? Not thanks, not appreciation, just more demands.
And when Michael eventually needed a little help himself, they didn't show up. They were too busy. That was the turning point. Michael decided to make a change. He stopped offering help unless it was truly needed. He stopped jumping in to fix every little issue. And most importantly, he started saying no without guilt. At first, his children were confused, even upset. But over time, they began to notice the difference. They saw that his time and effort weren't endless. They began to value it more. Why? Because his support became something meaningful again, not something automatic. So ask yourself this: are you giving more than you're receiving? Are you being generous out of love or out of habit? Because when you set boundaries, you teach others that your kindness isn't something to be expected. It's something to be appreciated.
Action 3. Stop chasing their approval. One of the most common traps parents fall into, especially later in life, is trying too hard to earn their children's approval. You might notice it in small ways: saying yes when you'd rather say no, avoiding topics that might upset them, or changing your schedule just to fit theirs. You tell yourself it's love, but often it's actually fear. The fear of losing their closeness. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The more you seek their approval, the less respect you earn. Respect doesn't grow from self-sacrifice. It grows from self-respect. If you're always accommodating, always stepping back, always prioritizing their comfort over your own, you may be sending a silent message: my needs don't matter. And once that message is received, they begin to treat you accordingly, often without even realizing it. Let me tell you about a woman named Jessica. She was once confident, independent, and full of life. But as she got older, she started deferring to her adult children on everything. She stayed quiet when they made decisions for her, went along with their plans, and avoided expressing her true feelings, just to keep things smooth. "I just don't want to cause tension," she told me once. But over time, her children stopped asking what she wanted. They stopped listening. They began to see her not as an equal, but as someone who would always go along, no matter what. The result? They didn't respect her silence. They took it for granted. The turning point only came when Jessica started making small changes. She spoke up when something didn't sit right with her. She politely declined when she didn't feel up to something. She stopped trying to please and started trying to be honest. And slowly, her children started listening again. If you feel like your children overlook your feelings or decisions, maybe it's time to stop chasing their approval and start reclaiming your voice. Because when you respect yourself enough to set limits and speak honestly, others begin to respect you too. Respect isn't something you can simply ask for or demand from your children. It's something you cultivate through the way you live, how you set boundaries, and how you carry yourself. If you feel like they're treating you with less care or respect, it's important not to let frustration take over. Instead, try shifting your approach. Stop seeking their approval. Show the way through your actions, because less than anything you could say. Become emotionally independent. The more self-sufficient you are, the more they'll respect your presence. But the people will treat you according to the standards you set for them. Stop giving without receiving appreciation. When your kindness is overlooked, it starts to lose its value. And perhaps most importantly, create a fulfilling life outside of your relationship with them. People respect those who have their own purpose, joy, and a sense of accomplishment. By making these changes, something powerful will happen. Your children will begin to see you in a new light, not as someone who's waiting for their attention, but as someone who commands respect just by being themselves. Over time, that respect will return to you, not because you asked for it, but because you earned it through the way you live your life. We're so grateful you spent time with us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you've learned and how you plan to use it in your life. Your feedback means a lot to us, and reading your comments is a great source of motivation. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give us a like, subscribe, and share it. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs and inspires. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.